Although they aren't very well known among casual RPG fans, there were quite a few SquareSoft RPGs that went untranslated during the 16-bit era. These games produced no sequels and weren't connected to any larger franchises, and thus, unlike Final Fantasy V, they were largely forgotten. However, thanks to a new age of emulation and ROM hacking, some of these games have now been translated into English. This is Live a Live, originally released in Japan in 1994 for the Super Nintendo. Live a Live contains a unique setup similar to Saga Frontier, which can be kind of considered a gimmick. When you first start out, you have 7 different stories available to choose from. They take place in different eras, in different locations, containing different people. Each story must be completed and may be done in any order of your choosing. You may pick from a kung fu master, a robot, ninja, a cowboy, a caveman, a wrestler, and a boy from the future. After each story is complete, a final storyline is presented which loosely draws everything together. Live a Live is basically 7 different miniature games, and as much as it pains me to say this, not all stories are created equal. As each story is a new investment in learning the characters and setting, most people are bound to have their favorites and unfortunately, their least favorites. Long segments in the game that are just not nearly as exciting as the rest that you're only playing in order to see the entire picture. While saying this is basically condemning the entire point of the game, I would have loved to play as the boy from the future longer, and I would have easily traded the robot story for it. While none of the storylines are outright bad, I can't see many people interpreting each of them as equally great. Live a Live has a lot of problems that plague Japanese RPG games in general. You have your extremely interesting parts which really draw you in with an intriguing story and fascinating characters, and then you have your filler. Tons and tons of battles taking up loads of time as you try to make your way from point A to point B. Some parts of Live a Live are great in that there are no random battles. The cowboy storyline has only a single battle which you spend your time collecting items to prepare for. The robot story is almost completely devoid of battles and is mostly a tale of mystery and intrigue. However, other times I was getting very impatient. There's not much in the way of leveling, and when it is possible for your characters to level, they'll usually be at an ideal level naturally, but as you traverse back and forth trying to figure out where the hell you're supposed to be going next, you'll be slammed with fight after fight. Many are extremely easy, but they make progress a chore. I had a love-hate relationship with many of the playable characters. I enjoyed their story, but I was getting extremely pissed with each pointless battle. Live a Live does try to shake things up with a non-traditional battle system. It's still turn-based, but it takes place on a grid similar to a very primitive Final Fantasy Tactics. Each move you make during your turn takes up a certain amount of game time, and your tactics can only hit certain squares in relation to you. Many attacks also target certain status effects, raising or lowering things like level, defense, IQ, and more. I was impressed with the fact that they did away with magic points. If a technique is available, provided your opponent hasn't sealed it, you can use it. While MP management adds a level of strategy to other games, it can be enjoyable to just let loose and use what's available to you as well. I also like the fact that your hit points would fully recharge after each battle. The battle system is fun and interesting at first, and in many ways better than your average Final Fantasy system of hitting the A button repeatedly each turn, but repetitive, pointless battles are still annoying. Towards the end of the game, while I was excited to wrap everything up and discover the game's conclusion, Live a Live's obnoxious battles, which were now randomly generated for the first time, were driving me insane. Live a Live has a nice premise, though the fact that it is basically a whole bunch of smaller games combined into one will always condemn it to at least a second-tier game below your Final Fantasies and Chrono Trigger. It's hard to fall in love with a game when you're required to keep starting over every 1 to 3 hours. The game setup essentially automatically commits it to sleeper status, though in the long run, when you're looking for something different, this isn't necessarily bad. Live a Live is a game that most people will come out of thinking it was great. It's hard to find a bad review online for this RPG. Live a Live is also a game that you'd feel very terrible about ever having to be critical with. Here's the thing, when Live a Live is good, it is very good. It doesn't pussyfoot around with its stories, and when tragic things happen, there are consequences. People die. Real lessons are learned. After you're committed to completing the entire game, the ending aids in giving your efforts a sense of purpose as you reflect upon the basic themes that each story contains. It feels as if you've done your duty and that it was a job well done. You're proud of yourself as well as happy. On the other hand, as high and mighty as you may feel, despite how closely you've grown towards this game, you'll probably find yourself forgetting about the slower parts and glossing over the aggravating parts. The not so fun work you had to put into moving your ass repeatedly across town in the futuristic level and barreling through useless enemy after useless enemy. The bitch work you had to endure as you traverse between rooms time and time again as the robot, hoping to activate the next story sequence. The way you had to hopelessly wander around trying to figure out where you made that wrong turn during the ninja level. The boring parts become overshadowed, and while I guess that says something about Live A Live's stronger points, I would have enjoyed a more even quality experience the entire way through. It's not as if I'm not perfectly aware of the fact that if someone's a big enough RPG nut to track this game down, that they'll probably enjoy the hell out of it. If they're cool with playing a 16-bit Japanese RPG, they're probably cool with a bunch of pointless random battles as well. If you still find yourself having a blast with the old Final Fantasy games and want something more, Live A Live is probably right up your alley. It has all of the things that an RPG fan will enjoy with an interesting perspective to tie it all together. It makes no serious blunders and has many enjoyable parts. While this game didn't motivate me enough to lose any sleep over it, I did usually try to finish at least a chapter per sitting. I overall do like this game. Live A Live is a good game, though I do feel that some of its aspects could use a little polish. I give Live A Live on the Super Nintendo a 6 out of 10.